welcome in to the Brawl House.
The kick forward, the punch through, that's gonna be it!
No way this one. We are about to head into the most competitive day in Brawl history, my friend. Are you ready?
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship. We are, of course, in the EMEA region today, and I cannot, for one, be more excited. I'm Mark, of course, today joined by Teddy and Trav, my brothers in arms. Teddy, with some of you, it's a huge day for EMEA today. Like, what teams have you got your eye on? Who do you think is going to come out tops?
There are teams that can qualify today, so that is already incredibly important. Thinking about, teams like SK and Team Queso, but there are more teams that can really secure some points that can help them get that world final spot they are really fighting for.
Travis, well, fresh to the back of a back-to-back. How are you feeling? And you still got some energy left after a big East Asia battle today?
I've always got some energy left for my home region, I'll tell you that, Ark, and I'm just more than excited to see some of these teams excel, get some points, get some qualifications to Worlds, and see how it all plays out at the end of the day.
Could have said it better myself. Well, the format is ready and lined up to go, so in case you're new to the streams, here is how we do. Power match format, of course, that we all know and love. The draft, the picks, the bans, no duplicate brawlers found here, of course, this year. Top 8 single elimination bracket, so no second chances in that respect. It's no double elimination, not like the qualifiers. You got to bring your A game. Best of 3 for the quarterfinals, best of 5 the semi-finals and the finals, so you get a bit of grace, a bit of a chance to take a loss here and there, but in these quarterfinals, Trav, it can be really quite stressful. Talk us through the bracket today, Trav, and the schedule lined up.
Well, we'll be starting things off at the top with Reply Totem versus Dogster Lobster, which is pretty instrumental for Dogster Lobster. I will say Reply Totem already have their world spot. Next game is probably one of the most monumental games of the month. Tribe Gaming versus SK Gaming. SK can get their world spot from this game as well. Team Queso and Sampi up after that. Navi and Bax to finish off quarterfinal number 4.
Looking very stacked, and yeah, Team Queso and SK Gaming, if they make the semi-finals today, they lock their golden ticket in for the World Finals, which is huge. Well, we're going to be doing our predictions along the way. As you guys know, we've been pretty good with that along the way. Didn't hold us to it today, though. Could go either way. Events.brawlstars.com is where you guys can go right this second. I'm looking at you right now. You go there, sync your Supercell ID, and of course your game, and get this reward sent directly to yourselves, and play along, predict correctly along the way, and you will get to that final tier. That Tara pin is waiting for you. I got mine last week, so I'm pretty good, but we'll still do our best to help you guys out at home do the same. Speaking of predictions, Teddy, let's get stuck straight in with yours. You deviated away in quarterfinals, so you went with SK Gaming instead of Tribe. Talk us through your thoughts.
Well, to be honest, Ark, I think that Tribe is the better team overall, but there is a big difference for this matchup. It's Tribe, they have their tickets for Worlds already guaranteed. SK, they need to win this match to make it to Worlds. They still have a second chance, next month, but this is their ticket straight to Worlds. So I feel like that should be about enough to be an extra motivation towards winning that matchup and just get them over the line and overtake Tribe in this quarterfinal 2 match.
Yeah, I think you raised a really valid point. We saw it, didn't we, last week in the LATAM South region, where Chazmak just brought the fire in what was one of the most monumental grand finals in that region all year long, and it was so back and forth because they really wanted it, they needed it, and that's where kind of SKR today for me. So that one was a 50-50 for me when it came to placing my predictions. I can absolutely understand why. Trav, you're copying my homework again. I vouch for that. I vouch for it. Here's the leaderboards for the EMEA region. Trav, talk us through it. There's a lot of teams as well. We got to mention there were 3 teams, big teams, that didn't actually qualify for this month.
I would like to mention your predictions. I had mine submitted at 6 a.m. this morning, so I think it might be the other way around. But Reply Totem to the Tribe Gaming, obviously with their world spots already guaranteed, first and second, Team Queso and SK already, as we mentioned, can guarantee theirs if they get to the semi-finals today. Navi, Craze, 5th and 6th. And this is where it gets a bit shaky. Craze and SCMN haven't qualified to today, which means we've got some teams below them, aka Dogster Lobster, if they do well, who can spring up this leaderboard and make a leap into these higher places, but it'd have to be a very good run, and obviously, looking at their first opponent being Reply Totem, it's going to be a tough ride.
Yeah, the odds are very heavily stacked against them. But hey, To root for an underdog, and I mean, that team has literally got dog written in its title. Here are the leading teams across the entire world, though, and I'll talk you through those that have already qualified. With EMEA, we've got Reply Totem already locked in. Tribe Gaming EU, they just have to show up to their game, and they will also do the same. But Team Kesso and SK, they need to make the semi-finals. If they do that, they'll claim a golden ticket. Whereas Navi, Craze fans, a little bit more behind, have got to have a good day. Well, for Navi, they've got to have a good day because Craze didn't actually qualify. If you saw the East Asia region earlier today, it was very, very fun, very enjoyable. We saw Zero Division 1 and 0 both qualify for that region. Tribe Gaming NA in the North America and Latin North region have just got to show up to their match tomorrow, whereas Vanguard and SC Men still battling out there. AC Milan Clash and Latin South were the first team in the world to qualify for a golden ticket, whereas Chazbak had to battle their way through last week, and do so they did, whereas that last remaining spot is still up for grabs in Latin South. In SSA and ANZ, a different story. Stalwart Esports have dominated this year. They're locked in with every single month a grand finals win. That is how we've got things shaping up to be. It's looking very, very exciting, Teddy.
It certainly is. I mean, I always love, the end of the year when we see which teams are going to make it to Worlds and which teams are going to have to battle it out in the last monthly final. Always so exciting as well. But yeah, this is going to be an important day because so many teams in the EMEA can secure a spot just today already.
Yeah, you don't want to get knocked out in those quarterfinals, and sadly, Trav, this is where we knock you out of the webcam because we're going to bring you back in for quarterfinals 3. Hope you understand, but don't worry, guys watching at home, he'll be back. I know there's an uproar right now because Trav's got more love than anyone. But Teddy, let's talk ourselves through our first match of the day. As Trav put it, Dogs Lobster, they've got a tough one on their hands here. Reply Totem are a team that are just looking absolutely phenomenal at the moment. Joker, Maori, and Maru are at the top of their game. They've just been going from strength to strength after the MSI. They had some promise prior to that, but that's where they really started to pop off after bringing Joker onto the roster. And yeah, Maori, nice chair as well for him. All color coordinated. You love to see it. But this is, again, like a big match for them. They are, however, coming off the back of a loss after yesterday's loss to Navi, actually, in Rush, which I know you were casting, so you can talk about more of that later on. But yeah, I don't think that that's going to deter them. I think they're going to shake up the cobwebs pretty well, but it does just go to show that even a team like them can be defeated. If the draft is right and the circumstances are there, Dogs to Lobster could cause an upset.
They're definitely not unbeatable. But the fact is that, yeah, they took a loss yesterday, which was like something that, we've barely even seen this year from them, which says a lot. But Dogs to Lobster, it's a different breed here. They are an incredible team with, some of the most beloved players in the scene. Unfortunately, they don't quite have the level of achievements that Reply Totem managed to secure this year.
That's true. Sometimes that can bring something to the table, though, as well. It can kind of eradicate that additional pressure that you get when you're signed to a bigger organization. But that's what I love about this team. They've just been so persevering in their approach. They've got a huge fan following off the back of this year as well, and have surprised us along the way. Going back to the earlier months of this year, they even almost knocked out Tribe Gaming and prevented them from qualifying a couple of times. They've had some really, really good matches. Reply Totem, of course, though, I mean, like you said, it's rare to see them ever take a loss. In the Snapdragon Pro Series Season 1, they went from the entire way through that season undefeated. I mean, that is just incredible. I mean, they were pitched up against so many teams, and Dogs to Lobster was actually one of those teams. So they've definitely got a long-term history, a long-term rivalry, but yeah, more often than not, Reply Totem are a team that just looks scary.
They definitely do. I mean, I don't think it's going to surprise anyone that Reply Totem are going to be the favorites for this matchup. But to be fair, Dogs to Lobster, they've been fighting against the odds for the entirety of this year. And quite often, they manage to turn those odds and actually make it work. This is one of those days where they really want to, because they technically still stand a chance for World Finals. So they absolutely need to pop off this month. Otherwise, they can pretty much give up to that idea.
Yeah, I'm just realizing I haven't said my favorite line, but I really hope the Dogster Lobster roster today, bring some fight, bring some bite to this one, because I would love there to be just like an additional storyline to be considering when it comes to those golden tickets here. If this is a good month to Dogster and they just breeze through this, which I don't necessarily think is going to be a breeze, but let's just say out of a crazy scenario they're able to get a win here, this could change things substantially. You know, they're going to have to be very prepared for everything that Reply Totem have got to throw at them. Again, we're coming fresh at the back of some balance changes there as well to consider. So realistically, you can't take chances. You have to really get stuck in quickly to seeing the patterns that are emerging, not just in the region, but across other regions, but in regards to the team that you're facing and what they're likely to do, because we've seen Reply Totem bring in some interesting brawlers, which they haven't really necessarily had as much playtime with prior to that. So, you know, Dogster Lobster are going to have to keep their guard firmly up, it's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, I think, you know, kicking things up in Brawl can be a good way to start things up for a matchup like this, because if Dogs are able to, you know, get an explosive start and an early goal that can provide them a big advantage. It is best of 3, so things can happen rather quickly already. Our bands lined up. It's going to be B, Crow, and Pam banned out by Reply Totem. Dogster taking out Stu, Max, and G. And Joker on Reply Totem here, going for the first pick, Janet.
I do like these bans, gotta say, from Dogster Lobster in particular. Gene and Max getting those eradicated, and Stu, of course, is such a prominent brawler right now to get out of the way. And Bonnie first pick, very nice. Colette as well, really fantastic brawler to lock themselves in for. But Reply Totem knew that was going to be the case, likely to be the case at least, because yeah, Colette has just got phenomenal survivability. In fact, we actually saw Joker with an amazing play in the Snapdragon Pro Series towards the grand final stages, where he was able to like 1-3-3 SK. Pick number 4 coming in, and it does give up some options. They have got a Poco, they have got the potential for something of a more tankier approach if they want it, and that has got to be of some concern a little bit to Dogster Lobster. They're actually going to lock in the Gale. I love it. I love it. They're kind of locking that in early, because Dogster Lobster then can't respond to whatever this pick is next. It could be a buzz. I've seen them playing it a lot. Maybe not, but Daryl is a staple diet for Reply Totem. Or they're not necessarily going to go with a tank at all, but I do feel like that Gale is kind of preempting something here, and it's going to be a rough, actually surprise, but the wall break will come in handy.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised as well. Typically, Maru is going to be playing the Janet, and you know, I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here from Reply Totem. Seems like they're going for something a bit more standard, a bit more slow-paced, which I can respect as well. Gil always does a really good job at shutting down something like a Bonnie jumping onto you. Make sure you get that stun and clean kill, because more often than not, it's going to go the way of the Bonnie in general. It's going to be a squeak, actually, for the final pick here from Dogster.
I quite like it though from Reply Totem there, just because ultimately Dogster Lobster have the final pick. So the Gale is just kind of a safe bet to eradicate any unexpected surprises, and you know, having done that, Dogster have gone now for a more control-based idea. It's pretty smart as well, because ultimately, you know, you've got that twisted to hand as well for overtime, and just being able to pocket the ball and just plant the gadget over the top of the ball to make it just completely untouchable. The roughs here work so well. I mean, you know, Backyard Bowl, you know, is a tough one when you haven't got a wall breaker, so I do feel like that is going to be a big advantage to Reply Totem if they get that sort of mid-control, and that's going to be the first battle that we see as to who is going to be the one to do just that. Mary already tapping the power to win, and Bonnie's the tanky brawler, so going to remember that those taps have got to land, because they can get pushed back quite easily here already off the back of those connections, breaking that back left-hand side wall and giving Mary a bit more ability to maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, that Ruffs has something really, really strong in the pocket as well. If you can, you know, push forwards with a supply drop, open up those walls and time your shot perfectly with it, that can be a pretty safe way to secure a goal on the map, where often it can get quite stalematey, especially once you actually need to commit near that goal area. So far, very much just a fight for the mid, as we do have a nice super from Tom. Is going to take down Joker on the right-hand side. Mari trickled down to quite low HP as well. You got it from Tom to stay up, getting some good value, but Maru flies up in the air to make sure he survives that encounter.
I like that from Tom's there, dude, but that double stun from Joker, my word. That's going to keep Dr. Lobster on the back foot. Just Kanan now, and he's going to be defending this for his life. But Maori and Joker are low. That is something of a consideration. He could have supered it, but he went for the shots. It didn't connect. But now Thompson coming back in has, I don't think he got any more gadgets left to hand either. So the utility is dwindling down. It's 2 versus 1 now. Maori going to get the break and the goal to follow up. That places Dr. Lobster on the back foot with 50 seconds remaining on the clock.
Not a lot of time here for Dogster to turn things around. Need an opening sooner or later. A gadget pop by How to Win, trying to speed things up a little bit, change the pace. Maru takes it into the air as he flies behind enemy lines. Will be landing in a bit of an awkward position. Joker left in a 1 versus 3. Should be able to defend it off. It seems like Dogster are going to get a final push or a final chance at scoring against Reply Totem.
How to Win jumps in, takes down Maru, but Joker and Mario are still pretty high in terms of their HP, but this could be a methodical push here, but there's a twister. I don't think it's correctly placed, but I don't think it's going to matter. And the way that Dr. Lobster are at the present moment in time, no way they can get to this fall, and Reply Totem will take it. It wasn't quite that one-sided, though. There was a moment of promise towards the end from Dr. Lobster, and just that early goal, though, did help. It just kept Reply Totem in the game, and it was well done. They were able to push that ball through in that eventuality just very, very nicely indeed. But can they do it again? That's the question. Dr. Lobster definitely got to iron out a couple of things, but I did like a lot of their plays.
They were definitely not looking bad. The thing is, closure is what's most difficult on this map, right? Because, you know, you get some open fights in the mid, sometimes they'll go in your favor, but even then, getting that control is not always enough to actually secure a goal. That is the most challenging part on Bankert Ball so far. It is going to end up being a 2v2 with Kanan falling back a little bit, needs to heal up, and again, Maori opening up that left-hand side, the buff this time around going into the hands of Maru.
Okay. Well, Kanan's struggling to connect a little bit on the left as it does feel like Reply Totem's thumbs are nicely warmed up, and there's a great gadget there from Mario, but he does take a little bit of damage. Tomsy goes in and does take down Joker, and that's going to alleviate a lot of this pressure on the right-hand side. Might be able to find some space now in the mid in terms of control, and this is a pinnacle moment to do so, but they cannot lose this control. Joker in defense is such a daunting thing. You've got to get those sweet supers right in there deep and really cause a stir with that, and some swift takedowns, pretty much a team wipe. There goes Joker. Maori's still alive, though. This would be a great chance for Duckstate if they get the pass through. They do! How to Win passes it through to Kanan. What a play from them, and they bring back some feist.
Phenomenal goal here from Dogster, an important one as well. There is still a minute left on the clock, so Totem have time here to answer to that aggression from Dogster, but How to Win gets the ball out of the way. He's trying to get his super, does get it now as well. Don't think he can quite score here, but he is buying time and making sure that Reply Totem can't gain too much control of that engagement, and that might be exactly what Dogster need, because right now they have the goal lead. They don't need to score again, they just need to defend for another 30 seconds.
I wondered whether the timing there was a good time for Reply Totem to purchase, because How to Win was not in cannon form, but back in it now, and Joker is pushing up slowly. Can't be that far away from Super either, I don't think, and Maru goes straight to the skies, just keeps the pressure on. Down goes How to Win. Kanan's still alive, though, does connect, I think, with Joker, but Maru will get the ball, super in, with just 7 seconds on the clock, and now into overtime. That was not the plan.
Dogster, they wanted to end it clean, but it's not quite going to be the case here. Overtime it is. Pretty iconic to this map, of course. Dogster, they do have a super at hand on Tom. Joker has a knockback as well if someone gets over aggressive. And so far, Dogster respecting Totem a lot, giving them a lot of ground to work with. Maru is low, will get shut down. A 1-for-1 trade. Nice follow-up onto How to Win, both low HP. But How to Win gets the ball, does get taken out. And Totem should be able to score this one in. Yeah, Joker just walks it through. And Totem will take the first set.
Just like that, you know, it was so close to go to a third game there, but they just snatch it from the grasp. It's again that experience that shines through with Reply Totem, and just how they're able to handle those stressful situations, and that they kind of force the opposition to do things which they don't necessarily want to do, but they have to do. You saw the collect go in this final moments, but that was basically to avoid the knockback. You kind of have to do that. You're not in a position, you're like a lose-lose. And that's what Reply Totem are so good at doing when it comes to just making sure that the game goes their way. But we did see signs from Dr. Lobster that they are able to, well, again, the draft itself was pretty solid for me. I did like what they brought into the table. But just those final moments where they conceded kind of turned the things around, and they're going to be kicking themselves a little bit for that.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, you know, on the one hand, you can argue that, yeah, Dogster, they showed up here in the first set, definitely had some great signs of life and showed that they can put Totem in risky situations. However, on the other hand, this was their chance, right? This could have been the 1-0 lead in sets that Dogster really desperately want. And unfortunately, they missed out on that. And how to win, I mean, phenomenal performance, 9 kills in that set, but a bit more even on the side of Reply Totem with 6 and 6 on Joker and Maru. Mari a little bit behind, but does have the highest DPS for the squad.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that split even scoreline. Reply Totem just keeps that additional pressure on. I mean, nothing to say that anyone on the Dr. Lobster side wasn't doing their bit. Absolutely were. Just small, tiny mistakes, but these are the mistakes that do shine much brighter against a team like Reply Totem, in all honesty. I'm not sure whether Kanan could have prevented that goal if it just maybe supered well, he went for Joker, I think it was, on the longer side of things, rather than the person who was the closest to him, but I don't think it would have made much difference, to be honest. I mean, I just think that Reply Totem today just looking very strong and very calculated, and that's the thing. Going into Shooting Star for Bounty, not the worst map in my opinion when you are behind, to be honest. There's definitely worse front runners as far as that's concerned, but a very important draft for Dr. Lobster here, as again, the pressure is mounting against them. They are the underdogs, no pun intended, coming into this one for sure, it's safe to say, but that in a way kind of makes it even more appealing to try and really cause a stir in the EMEA region.
Yeah, definitely so. Draft is going to be coming in, and our bans are all ready and lined up. It's going to be Max, Fang, and Lola. Banned out by Reply Totem, Dogster taking out Piper, Max, and Nani. And there's going to be the first pick on the side of Totem. It's going to be Bell, and that seems very much in line with the most popular brawler pick race on Shooting Star.
Yeah, 68%, and I think for the reason that, more often than not, it's a very safe first pick. It's kind of quite a versatile brawler. It's got a lot of slow potential for any kind of assassination approaches, and marking up someone of value that can really go quite a long way. B followed up by Dr. Lobster to combine with the Bonnie. Don't mind B here at all. I think it's maybe not my go-to on this particular map against a Brock. But again, it kind of depends upon the approach of Reply Totem here as to what they want to go. Yeah, Janet, I mean, they saw in the previous sets how much of a problem that was for them, and Jean followed up nicely by them. No Max to combine by it because the ban is there, but nonetheless, still something really worthy to have. And the pressure that it has when you're stuck in that back spawn can cause you to make mistakes, and that's kind of how Reply Totem like to play and encourage those mistakes to be on your opposition side. Third and final pick coming in for Dr. Lobster. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, definitely so. Thinking about how they can counter anything here. Just going to go Brock. Pretty standard all around. A brawler we don't see the most in competitive at the moment. Especially at a pro level, it can be quite easy to dodge his shots, but he does have a decent amount of utility in his kit. Obviously, a lot of destruction and free destruction as well if you want to take out some of those walls in the mid, give your side the better matchup. It's going to be a challenging one, to be honest. I feel like Totem, they got away with a comp they want to play on Shooting Star, and that scares me a little bit here for Dr. Lobster, because I don't feel like they've brought anything, you know, substantially different to what we expect to see on this map.
Well, Payne is doing well in the mid so far, pushing Mario back all the way. Haven't quite seen yet what side of gadget he's running, but the fact he hasn't broken that mid wall might indicate that he's running rocket laces even. I'm not too sure just yet, but we'll surely soon find out. Yeah, that's the thing about placing that drop the base too close to a wall against the Brock. You can connect those, so a little bit of a mistake on the side of Reply Totem. We're going to have to be a bit more considerate as to where they place those next time round, but nonetheless, the mid control firmly with them, allowing Mary to put down a couple of nest eggs as well in the mid for safe measure. And Blue Star though with Dogstar, it counts for something here.
Yeah, and Kanan, I mean, is definitely the reason they managed to snatch that one. He got so much early damage onto Maru that Maru had to fall back, play it safe, leaving mid completely open, and the blue star free to be picked up by the ranks of Dogster Lobster. So far, slow approach, but Joker does have a pull, and this is where things can get really dangerous, especially when Kanan is marked up as well. Even some small gene shots are going to be hurting a lot. How to win, jumps in, finds two. That's not what the plan was here for Totem. They went for the pull, and they're both going down.
My word, there is Rocket Laces. I was thinking there's got to be that for Kanan, because he's just been like leaving the walls up for far too long for me if he wasn't. So there is some defensive measure. Massively so. You got the body jump and the Brock jump now as well to add to that. But 7 stars is something quite big at this stage of the game, but nothing that Reply Totem can't topple. As Kanan is marked up, the Spirit's going out as well. Tomsy blocking it with the Honey Molasses there, but everyone on the side of Dogster is pretty low for the most part. 10 seconds remain, Teddy.
Wow, 2 more kills going the way of Dogster, and this might just be a flawless game of bounty from Dogster Lobster. Beautiful stuff from them, and exactly what they needed as well. Didn't want to hand out any match points too early to Reply Totem, and that first game of bounty is certainly going their way.
Yeah, going to provide so much for them in terms of a boost, and it's going to be dangerous as well because you're ruffling the feathers of a team like Reply Totem. Joker gives the thumbs up, agrees with how that went for them, and definitely some mistakes to learn from on the side of Reply Totem. When that's an early pickup this time round, Tomsy low as well. So 3 stars and that blue star already with them, but they now know that Kanan is not running the wall break, and that will like help them be a bit more defensible as well. So Tomsy's got the amplified shot on the left and looking to connect it ideally onto Maori, but now he's healing up, and yeah, the opportunity's lost. Nest eggs as well in the mid is going to be something of a consideration for Dogster Lobster when they want to push through.
Jump in from How to Win, gets a kill again. This time does get traded out. That means that Totem keep a 3-star lead. It's a pretty different story now. The mark was missed by Maori, so that's some lost value as well. We can see that Dogster struggling more now that they did manage to pick up that blue star, but what a pickup from Kanan there. 2 shots onto Maori and grabs at elimination. Just 1 star now, and a single kill would turn the ties.
There are no signs of soup being used by Kanan though. He's a little bit cautious to do so. Doesn't want to make Reply Totem think that they can push the situation, but now goes for it. But Joker far away from it. Mid now though is completely exposed and will provide both more maneuverability but also less unpredictability. Maru's got super, so he can just take to the skies if he gets too low here, but How to Win pops his gadgets, and somehow Kanan comes in and clears things up. Dogster Lobster now have the lead, and if they hold on to it, they claim a set.
Yeah, some tunnel vision there from Maru. Looking at How to Win, but gets caught off guard by Kanan. Nice reset of How to Win's heals with the Vengeful Spirits. Goes for the jump in onto Maori, gets taken down by Tom before that. There is a trade there. Blue star is on the side of Totem, and that's going to be the difference maker. Totem, they take the game, and that's match point just due to that blue star.
Disaster. In much the same way that we saw Reply Totem in Backyard Bowl for Brawl will just steal it out of their clutches. Dogster Lobster are reminded in such a way that will sting that it's not over until those final seconds tick, and now they're forced to play out again, and not just that, but they're up against the match point now. Kanan trying to get Maori taken down, and Joker knows it's because of the body blocking. The right-hand side is a bit of a trade out, but the blue star does hand itself over to Reply Totem, and that's enough to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, that's a big trade, keeping the advantage on the Totem side of things. But Tom finds Maori out of nowhere again, then Dogster leading by 2. That's quite significant. Let's see if Totem can seal that lead again, or if Dogster can push things to a final set.
Bit smart there from Maori, so Kanan will have a bit of a saving grace. Maori has to land. What goes there must come down. The super at the top as well. Does pack. Oh, my word. Joker just coming in clutch there with the Magic Path healing. Oh, this is a good spot though for Maori. If he can use this box to his advantage, and How to Win now so incredibly low. Everyone on the back foot. Tomsy's got to come in here and swap lanes, but he can't juggle everything. Everyone healed up now, more or less, for Dr. Lobster, but this is looking like a close call here. One gene pull, and it's going to be turning back in favor of Reply Totem. And How to Win knows it, jumps in preemptively. Beautifully done, but it's not out of the woods yet. Maru gets the kill.
I like the play, though, knowing that Maru has taken it into the air and leaves an opening for him to take down Joker. Well read. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but one that keeps Dogster in the lead for now. However, they can't afford anyone to go down. A super from Kanan does find a lot of connections onto Maru, but Maru is able to still stand. 10 seconds left, the final chance here for Totem to end things here. Otherwise, it's going to be set free. Kanan is incredibly low. The pull connects. That's the kill they need. How to Win 1 HP as well, but it doesn't even matter. Reply Totem. They take out Dr. Lobster with a 2-0 scoreline. Some close games here and there, a close final set, but Dr. Lobster just falling short.
I fell for them, man. I fell for them so much because it happened 3 times. I mean, it does go to say a lot, though. It was incredibly close. I mean, that was one that I think kind of deserved to be settled in a third set myself. But just that ability to stay composed. And again, you know, when you're able to push back your opposition, when you've got things like Bell to hand and Jean to hand and also a Janet, it's a really tough thing to be able to just stay on your feet in those final moments. And the pressure, you could see it really was on. And when a team like Reply Totem put you in those places of pressure, it's very, very difficult to still remain out on top. And time again, they were just able to make it happen for themselves. Such calculated plays, but kind of what we come to expect from a team like Reply Totem. But that 2-0 scoreline, I just don't think does Dr. Lobster justice, in my opinion, today.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you know, the games were very close. There were some good chances from both sides, and Bounty, even more than Brawl, really felt like Dogster might just take it. And if you look at the scoreboard, I mean, that's 12 kills for Dogster, only 6 for Totem, but getting the important kills at the right time is so valuable. Plus, Dogster, I mean, you know, the scores might be a little bit biased because they did have one game where they absolutely stomped through Reply Totem, so took a lot of kills over there. But even then, you know, Dogster, definitely a great showing from them. Unfortunately, not quite enough to take down the almighty Reply Totem.
Yeah, and it's fair to say as well that their World Finals journey will probably come to an end there because there's no way they can bring things back. But MVP Maori takes it despite 0 kills under his name. But nonetheless, a worthy advocate for it, honestly. I mean, he's a dangerous player on the best of days and also in the worst of days too. So not at all surprised why the MVP votes went his way.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's good to see the MVP go to someone else than Joker once in a while as well, because the entire roster is just incredibly strong. Although Joker arguably is the star player, they did manage to get an important win here, which, you know, just secures their... their spot into the semifinals. Dr. Lobster, I mean, I wish they could take this one, but maybe next month we can see some more Dr. magic.
Yeah, certainly, you know, next year for sure. They're really on to one. I think it's going to be a very prospectful year. Well, our next matchup, Teddy, SK Gaming versus Tribe Gaming EU. A rivalry that we've seen time and time again. The start of SK Gaming, I mean, you know, they've been struggling recently. I mean, they've had a great start to the year back in March. The grand finals win against Tribe, but they got reverse swept in that instance. But ever since then, you know, April, quarterfinals finished. May, quarterfinals finished. Semi-finals in July, but August, back to old, you know, habits. Quarterfinals finished. We need to see more from Semantic, IKS, and Guille today, as if they can make the semi-finals and get this win against Tribe Gaming EU, they will get a golden tickets for the World Finals. They need to turn it up. They need to get back to that old form that they know and love and start to really, you know, show us what they're made of. They've got to break this habit of these quarterfinal finishes.
Yeah, they definitely have to do so. And when it comes to third-party events, they've had some successful results here and there. Just, you know, not quite where we want them to be. I mean, you know, you gotta love them. You gotta love their personality and, you know, all the energy they bring in here. Threatening Tribe from afar. They know they want this win here. They know that this win sent them straight to the World Finals, and he is definitely letting that show on his face and in his attitude as well.
I think it's great to bring it, you know, because you need to have a laugh and a joke, and you need to also bring, you know, a lot of energy to things. But Tribe Gaming EU are a team that have got plenty of that as well. Dre, Joshi, and Lanam. It's been a bit of a rocky road recently, it's fair to say. I mean, the year was phenomenal as a start, despite that loss to this very team back in the beginning of March. A grand finals appearance in every single month. But last month, that wasn't the case. They finalized the month in the semi-finals after a loss to Reply Totem. So looking this month to come back a bit more refreshed and revitalized to be able to get this win, because again, this back and forth, we've seen it a lot, Teddy, as you mentioned in third-party events as well. You know, it was in the Snapdragon Pro Series where we saw SK get the win over Tribe, and in the previous day, I think we saw Tribe get the win over SK. So it's been back and forth, not just in the BSC, but outside of the BSC as well. And both of these two teams, for that very reason, know exactly how the other likes to play. And that's what makes this matchup so interesting for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, SK Tribe, one of the biggest rivalries in Brawl Stars, especially when it comes to EMEA history across the years. Those guys have played each other over and over again. This is an incredibly important match here for SK. As we already addressed a little bit, SK, they can make it to the World Finals if they win this match. Just a little bit of an extra sense of security would really go a long way. Tribe, on the other hand, they are already qualified, but, you know, if anything, that also shows that they have been already the better team this year with better results and more consistent brackets all around. So Tribe, in my eyes, are coming in as a favorite. I just hope that SK can perform to the level I want SK to perform, because I want to see SK at the World Finals.
Yeah, I don't want to see them, you know, again back in their previous form. I say that with hesitation because, you know, it makes it sound like they've really fallen off. They haven't. They've got it. They've demonstrated it. This is a team that went head-to-head, neck and neck with Zaza at their MSI to match point. You know, they're capable of so much greatness, and they really thrive in a LAN environment. We saw that, you know, with the Snapdragon Pro Series just very recently as well, and they went to the you know, grand finals against Reply Totem there and forced Tribe Gaming out. So that is still a bitter blow that's going to be remaining there for Tribe Gaming here today, and they need to shake that off and just focus on the now. As you rightly say, they've already qualified, so there's a bit more off their shoulders in that respect, a bit more pressure on the side of SK Gaming. But again, that's a team which respond really well to pressure. They love to be behind because it makes them want it even more. 57% of you watching at home think that they have got the edge here today, Teddy. Similar to yourself and your predictions. And again, I call this as a 50-50 earlier today, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if SK do pick up the win here today simply because of what is at stake.
Yeah, exactly that. There's a lot at stake for SK, a little bit less for Tribe, but it's still Tribe, and, you know, they're a proud team. Just the bragging rights, plus, you know, a little bit of a prize pool, getting some better seeding, perhaps on the leaderboards when it comes to the final leaderboard at the end of the year. All of that goes a long way as well, so it's not like they have nothing to play for. It's just that, you know, in comparison, it does feel like SK have much higher stakes when it comes to this match. Our bans are there. It's going to be Amber, Janet, and Jean, banned out by SK Gaming. Tribe also banning Jean and Janet, and Amber. Seems like we have only 3 bans, which is pretty rare.
Yeah, that is really quite rare. Honestly, it's going to open up a lot of doors here, and they might not be doors that everyone wants to necessarily open, as the Poco first pick by SK Gaming. I don't know whether it's my preferred mid here, but I mean, it opens up a lot of opportunity. That is you know, safe to say, and also just the way it's shot into the meta, it's a very dangerous brawler. So Yoshi's responded and Drage with Sue and Colette, and they have both great picks as well. Sue mid, could be quite troublesome actually against a Poco, just simply because of the aggression that it provides. But again, the healing on the side of SK is going to be of a concern here. I've seen SK go Penny here quite a lot. It does seem to be something which they quite like, and Pam as well, as we know, is a great lane on these circumstances here. Bonnie's available as well, another one which they like to actually ban as well as play. So there are still opportunities. They're going to go with Crow. They were playing it a lot yesterday as well. Hasn't necessarily dropped off as much as I think it felt in the last week's shows, but nonetheless, we have seen a little bit of experimentation of gadgets. I think Stone Toxin is still there, and also with the poke on their side, it means that with the protective tunes as well, able to cancel out that slowdown. That is not going to be something that Tribe have got the luxury of having. So this fifth pick's got to be an aggressive one for me, a little bit so. They are lacking a little bit of their lane control for me, as the SK do have a lot of aggression on those side lanes here. I think they've got to go with something here. They're going with Beast, going in range today. Different approaches, but it's what makes teams like this so great, because they keep you guessing all the time.
Now, that's such an interesting draft from SK, because I'm assuming that B is not being played mid, right? I would think that Semantic or whoever ends up running the Poco is going to be in the mid, and then the B is played on a lane. That would make more sense.
The left lane, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a nightmare to me to try to lane a Stu with a B in mid, you know? But Lena is going to be going for the squeak, so very much controlled approach as well on both sides, really. So this is going to be an interesting one. Poco is strong, and I think where it can be very strong as well is with Solo Screech against something like a Stu. Sure, you can dash out of, the danger and get back to safety, but that Solo Screech is going to come hunting you all the way on your side of the map. It doesn't matter if there's walls between you. That can be a great way of getting eliminations. We'll see if that is going to be the star power of choice. Seems likely, considering Guy is playing pretty much isolated from the rest of the team anyways.
Look, it seems like Yoshi is already rooting for his opposition there. Drops the SK pin. IKS, though, has got the amplified shot and does connect it, the residue behind him. And that will allow Yoshi to have a little bit more of an idea as to where he might be lying now, but healing up as well. And yeah, be that lane here, because ultimately the right lane is very hard to push into. So you need the Crow to kind of basically show where your opposition are going to be, to give you an idea as to where your hits are landing, and it's kind of that area spread that's kind of perfect for it. Nonetheless, Yoshi is definitely feeling it on this left, and 3 gems in the pocket for SK, but 3 also in the pocket for Tribe. So quite neck and neck, and just both teams just, creeping out to try and get their gem.
I like as well on the Poco how much they can scout just by, shooting in those bushes, shoot on both sides of that mid wall as well, which usually, when you go for this gem, you'll shoot at one side and hope that, you either mark your enemy or dissuade them from pushing you and taking any risks. Here, you can cover both sides if he wants to. That's a big pickup. He should be picking those gems up. They are going to be dropped down in the mid. He's low HP, but IKEA still manages to snatch them off. Lena ends up going down, and SK, they have a pretty strong countdown now.
Yeah, I don't know whether they're going to be able to stop this on the side. Tribe, a bit of a mistake there from Drage, and also gems over Chaos and Guille, so you can go in super aggressive on the Crow, but Lanan's going to try for it, not enough time, that's what I thought. And SK would pick up the first game in a nice fashion. They played it slow and steady at the beginning and just played it safe, but allowed Tribe to make that mistake, and as soon as they did, they capitalized on that, and very deserving, in my opinion, of that first game.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's an interesting draft they brought to the table, but that slow and steady approach paid off. Let's see if they can do it again, or if Tribe have managed to think of some solutions to deal with this unorthodox comp from SK.
Just pushing through that left-hand side lane and forcing Chaos into the mid, but the lack of numbers here, and he's all on his own as Semantic respawns back in, and Drage picking up the aggression. Ryan has to keep Semantic at bay. Lanan going into the mid, and they've swapped over actually. Lanan seems to be the gem carrier now a little bit. But getting big taps from Chaos, and Yoshi now slowed and taken down quickly. It's going to be really tough, this lane matchup between the Squeak and the B, and for the moment so far, Chaos seems to be winning it more often than not.
Yeah, it is interesting that Tribe went for a lane swap. Usually it's not the mid that's going to be swapped. It seems to be somewhat paying off so far, much more even than the previous game, although the previous game really ended when SK were able to steal those gems. A nice push forward from Guy has a super as well. He's gonna go for it now. Scouts Rage in the bush and finds a 5th and 6th gem for the side of SK.
I feel like this Stu lane is working out better than the actual gem carrier idea that they were with before, though. I mean, Drake just being able to get a lot more in the face of SK. IKaos has actually come over to that right-hand side lane now to deal with him, put Semantic against Yoshi. I'm not sure whether that's going to work out as well for SK. I actually quite like the way that IKaos was able to keep Yoshi suppressed. Slow will connect as well, and Drake's just about safe, but couldn't quite connect the shot, but the Nun comes in now, and the gem leaders with SK. Semantic jumps in. Bit of a body blocking there from the speed zone, and now EA pretty out of position. 3 versus 1, forced back.
Yeah, this is looking better for Tribe, although SK are on 9 gems. Tribe mashing that gem count, 1 away from a counter. Nice pickup from Drake onto IKaos as well. The counter is still initiated by SK first. Tribe should be able to cancel it out quite easily, but now doing just that now, as we have a 1-for-1 trade on the left-hand side.
Well, oh, Nun does get it. I was a bit hot in mouth then, but still SK, who just keep continuing this countdown. They've got 12 to 10 now. The Nun is weak and weary as well, pinched between himself and Chaos, and the gems are dropped. Chaos picks them all up, and oh my word, SK have breezed it. They take the first set, no doubt about it, and place Tribe firmly on the back foot.
Wow, what an explosive start here from SK. I mean, you have to give it to them. That comp was very, very interesting, but Tribe, they just didn't really know how to deal with it. They tried, and I think that their second approach was the collect mid worked out better. But in the long run, it was still SK, you know, once the fight got messy, once those gems were dropped from Semantic onto IKaos, I believe, it was a huge mess, but a mess that SK somehow managed to try.
Yeah, when you got brawlers like Crow that can just kind of jump in or jump out with gems as well, that's another thing of a consideration to have. It's why I guess it's quite still viable in that respect in Double Swoosh. Interesting to see a different kind of playstyle actually as well, because we tend to often see both of these two teams kind of considering tanks. I mean, Colette tends to be more of a Tribe kind of pick. If they can like land it in, it's pretty much always the Nun who does get to play it. But the gems were split as well, and that moment there, Lenon's not able to realistically come out with anything because the angle wasn't quite right, and the return had been another way, then maybe he would have got some out for his troubles there. But it was that moment there where we just saw Lenon get caught off guard as Chaos came in and then really cleared up the Drage, and then he was then out of position, and just then the walls just came crumbling down. And this is what Tribe are going to be aware of going into this second set is SK are playing a very, very cautious game today. They like to play the slow game normally, but in Gem Club you can't do that. So they're just taking their time, keeping the resets going and just keeping the pressure on, and it works out time and time again.
Yeah, great stuff overall here from SK. Tribe definitely not far behind. Both games were fairly close, but eventually the gem carriers did fall for Tribe, and that's something they need to be careful of, despite, you know, having some pretty impressive strats on both sides. I do feel like, you know, SK, they're all up at 5-4 kills. It was only Drake on the side of Tribe that was able to match that. See if Open Zone can be a new beginning, a fresh start for Tribe, or if SK are gonna run away with this one.
Well, I know Tribe do like to play Squeak here, and I'm sure they will have the same memories that I do of the Snapdragon Pro Series, where SK brought in a final moment Mortis, and it really just stomped them in that instance. So this draft is actually quite a crucial one. They've got to realistically on both sides plan ahead, and the coin toss here is quite important. I've been waiting for Grip here all day long, but it hasn't really shown its face so far. I think a Suban would be a worthy one to have here as well. It's not, but Poco is. Crow, B, Amber, and Squeak all banned out. Tribe actually banning out Squeak as well, which is interesting to see. And they go with the first pick of Janet, which I quite like here. But there is still a lot of options. This map is quite versatile, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, there's few brawlers I'm gonna fear as much as the Stumantic on Open Zone. He is really, really strong on this map. They're gonna go for Lola first, which would definitely be a viable option to pair with the Stu, just because of the way it can counter it and not want to leave that option open to your opponents. Also, just very much in line with the most popular brawler picks on Open Zone. It seems like maybe SK are going to go for a different idea. they do have some momentum on their side and can try to switch things up a little bit. It's gonna be a max, so still matching that high energy, high movement speed mindset, but with the max rather than the Stu.
I like it. Really aggressive, really in your face, and for me, I would like to see Griff followed by a B, because B can like slow down so much of this aggression as well, and it just helps to have the map so open. The walls are going to be quite crucial here, but Pam, for that same reason, can come in really nicely. It's just a tough one to pick for Tribe here, because ultimately SK didn't have the opportunity to wall break, and then your walls did not carry nearly as much. It is going to be Stu for Lenan. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. It's very quick with the speed zone to get back into the mix, and also, considering that they are up against the max, they have to bring some aggression of their own, but they'll be a bit cautious not to feed with that as well. I kind of wonder who is going to be playing on that particular pick here, but definitely going to mean that they're going to have to consider quite heavily the lack of range that they have with that particular brawler, and trying to compensate for it. It's going to be Bonnie coming in for that very reason. I quite like it. SK love to play Griff. I don't keep banging on about it. I have done all day. I'm not going to stop, but I feel like this is the time for them to bring it in.
It might be. It might be. I think it would have been a great option as well for Tribe, because it does quite well against both Max and especially Lola. But SK, it's definitely still an option they have on the table. They could maybe go for something like a bow as well, pretty standard. There's still some long-range options open too, but it's going to be the Pam. And then they decide to bring in, which I really don't mind. I do find that it's kind of hit or miss on open zone. Sometimes it can get great success, sometimes not nearly as much. But from the looks of it, both comps seem fairly even. I would even dare to maybe sign a little bit on the side of Tribe, just because personally here I do prefer the Stu over the Max. I think Bonnie has great range as well, although that can be challenging when facing a Max that can speed up not only herself, but her teammates too, of course.
Exactly that. That's the worry with Bonnie, and for me, I think it makes perfect sense to draft the Pam here, because there's no wall break. It's going to be speed zone for Drage, and that does mean that despite Tribe having the early mid control, if SK start to get their utilities down, it's going to help them out so much. Basically stomps Pam coming in, and he forced away with the phase shift, and low, can't really push now on the aggressive and just using the speed on the defensive. Not necessarily how you want to be using the Max, but when you've got no choice and being forced into this corner by Tribe, then it makes a lot of sense. Ego goes out on that left-hand side, not going to in that much other than a couple of taps into Yoshi. So far, so good for Tribe as they approach 50%.
This is a phenomenal start from them. Really not much contesting from SK until now. That healing station is barely going to get any value, which is exactly what Tribe want. A bit of a stomp here, actually, as Lena takes out Ikios. Guy is left on one shot. Semantic falls next. And this is looking very complicated here for SK Gaming. Tribe, I mean, they're going to take this one. Wow, and so dominantly as well.
Yeah, they just didn't give SK a look in at all, and I think off the back of a set loss, that's how you have to really get inside the minds of SK. You have to come together as a team. I think last year, Hot Zone was a game mode where Tribe really kind of struggled. This year, it's been a bit of a different story, and they know the importance of just getting and confirming the kills, and utilizing that mid control and trying to dance around the aggression, combining with the objective. But now SK starting to work a bit better as a team, getting these angles a bit better. Drage just surviving there on 189. Lenan pretty low himself as well. This is where SK need to push, and they can't do that. The speed is available to Guy, but they have all the HP to utilize with it.
Well, again, Tribe was just such a phenomenal start. Not much they can do about it. Guy dashes straight into Lenan, is able to survive, it seems like. Might even win that fight in the end. Both are incredibly low. It is going to be Lenan to take it, playing it blind in the bushes. Thing is, in the meantime, it's still Tribe getting percentage after percentage, and SK, they just have yet to really find an answer.
Yeah, they're really not in the element at the moment, but Guy with the speed now places Drage and Yoshi under pressure. Drage goes down, Yoshi's the last one standing. It's quite a big lead, though. A substantial Tribe and the team white there now as well. They can just sit on the zone and wait and just keep their distance between themselves and Gear, not to feed. 90%. Tribe have absolutely hammered down this set. And rightly so when you consider how things started. We're now even, but I didn't nearly expect it to be as quickly as that to become even, to be completely honest.
Wow, impressive performance. I mean, to be fair, SK, they brought the songs, but Tribe brought the stomps, and that is a very one-sided set here in favor of Tribe, pushing things all the way to a third.
I've got to point out that player Wes, Teddy, that was like, I mean,
you're welcome. I've been preparing it.
I enjoyed that. So. I really did. Okay, well, hot potato for heist. I mean, this is kind of where SK like to be, actually. Like, I mean, this game mode, maybe not the map in that instance though, but certainly the game mode. SK really like to just. They rub salt in the wound and just kind of play more of a control-based game, but Hot Potato as a map doesn't really necessarily cater to that same idea. So definitely something of a bit of a saving grace there for Tribe. However, saying that though, Tribe have really cottoned on to how SK play and have shown that same approach when it comes to playing out Heist against them, and they've actually started to win more than they've lost in that sense as well. But I think what we've got to say more than that, before we go into that, is just how much Tribe shook off that first set. You know, coming in, I love that little moment between Lenan and Guille there, because I was wondering how long it was going to go on until someone got the kill. But, you know, this is what I mean. The sixth sense that you have with these sort of teams means that when they are juking, they are able to play it off like that and have that survivability. Stats are in, heavily favoured in Tribe, kind of what we expect to see realistically. Only one kill for each of the SK Gaming players in that entire set, which is pretty dominant, if you ask me. On the side of Tribe, of course.
Oh, it's absolutely dominant, yeah. For sure, for sure. And I think this is something that may be a little overlooked as well, is that, you know, very often we hear about comfort brawlers, but Hot Zone is a comfort mode for Tribe Gaming, just like Siege may have been for SK last year. And having, you know, those sort of game modes, if they are in the rotation of your match, that can be a massive advantage, because as you said, they just shook off that momentum from SK like it didn't even happen. And now we're going to set 3 with a whole lot of momentum going the side of Tribe Gaming, and that's something SK need to worry about.
Oh, why do you have to bring up Siege, Teddy? It's still too early for me. It's still hits me hard.
I'm sorry.
Well, it comes down